Understanding text structure as a strategic reading behavior can support literacy instruction. WCPS has a literacy philosophy that describes 10 beliefs and action statements that should be evident in pre-K through grade 12 classrooms. The WCPS Literacy Philosophy document can be accessed by visiting the 4A's Literacy website homepage. One of the WCPS beliefs about literacy is clearly related to text structure. Text structure prepares literate students to understand, analyze, and create texts. Therefore, we will explicitly teach students to recognize and apply text structure and provide appropriate tools for students to use during their reading and writing. Think about your instruction. Do students use the structure of a text to understand, analyze, and create texts? It is essential to think beyond identifying the text structure and encourage students to think critically beyond acquisition. Consider another belief statement. Literate students use strategic behaviors. Therefore, we will explicitly teach strategic behaviors, not for strategy's sake, but to empower each learner to think in ways that enhance learning and understanding and result in the fluent application of skills and strategies. It is important to teach students about text structure as a strategic behavior, not for strategy's sake. For example, we are not encouraging classes to develop a cause and effect king who can spot any text organized as cause and effect. Instead, it is important for students to use the structure of the text to think deeply about the text, to better comprehend and analyze the text. You may be wondering where text structure fits in the standards. It is embedded in ELA Anchor Standard 5. Therefore, all grade levels, pre-K through 12, have literary and informational standards in support of developing understanding of the structure of texts. Although text structure is clearly aligned to Anchor Standard 5, knowing the structure of a text supports students demonstrating understanding of many other ELA standards. Focusing on how the students can use text structure to think deeply is essential to this strategic reading behavior. For example, text structure is clearly aligned to the author's purpose. If an author chooses to share why a dog is a better pet than a cat, he may organize the text using compare and contrast. By knowing this structure, the student will be able to identify important details, giving them a better understanding of the main idea as well. It becomes a tool for discussing and demonstrating understanding of the text. When readers approach a text, they first mentally determine if the text is literary or informational. If the text is literary, it is a story, poem, or a play. A story or a play has a predictable structure, best known as the plot diagram. Our earliest readers can begin by identifying the beginning, middle, and end of the story. In the beginning, the author usually shares the characters and the setting. The middle and end describe the problem and the solution. This is the most basic form of text structure of a literary text. View the various resources in the Literary Text Structure Session resources to find increasingly complex plot diagrams. Using a consistent organizer for various literary texts rather than using dolphins and various clip art supports the concept that stories have a predictable structure, even as they become more and more complex. There are 5 basic structures for informational texts: description, sequence, compare and contrast, problem and solution, and cause and effect. Again, common graphic organizers for each of these structures can be found in the Informational Text Structure Session resources. Complex texts have multiple structures, but knowing the 5 basic structures allows students to better comprehend the complex texts. Most kindergarten and first grade level texts are organized as description, like the All About books, as sequence, like the How-To books, or as compare and contrast. By 3rd grade, students should have a good understanding of when an author may choose to use any of the 5 basic structures. Text structure is also an important strategic behavior for writing effectively. As students come to understand that the structure of the text is directly aligned to the author's purpose, they will better understand the importance of identifying a purpose for writing and then choosing an appropriate structure to convey their thoughts. Data indicates that many of our students do not organize their writing well. Simply writing a lot does not equate quality writing. Effective writing is organized in a predictable structure, promoting comprehension of and enjoyment for reading the text. It is important to consider potential misuses of the text structure strategy. Be careful not to kill the joy of reading by requiring students to complete a text structure organizer every time they read. Enjoying reading is a top priority. Text structure should not be identified simply for the sake of identification or low-level understanding of a text. Instead, the structure should be used to encourage deep thinking and analysis of texts, leading to rich conversation much beyond identifying the problem in the story. Again, be sure this is a strategic behavior, a behavior that leads to the comprehension of increasingly complex texts. Using this strategy supports students in building a knowledge base well suited to the discipline, increasing their knowledge and use of academic vocabulary. It is not the completion of an organizer. It is a tool for unlocking understanding. Take some time to explore the various resources and the sessions within this professional development module to determine ways to implement best practices in your literacy instruction.